If you have watched any of my videos, you probably know that I am currently on a quest to hike all the trails in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and become a member of the 900 Miler Club, which celebrates those who have achieved this goal. On this trip to the beautiful and exciting treasure that is the Smoky Mountains, I headed over to one of the more challenging areas near Bryson City Deep Creek area, off the west end of the Lakeshore Drive, or Road to Nowhere as it is sometimes called. After a few last-minute adjustments, I parked at the trailhead around 9 a.m. On day 1, I went 2.2 miles west on Lakeshore Trail, 1.7 miles northwest on White Oak Branch, 1.1 miles south on Forney Creek Trail, then 5.7 miles northwest on Bear Creek Trail, where I went 2 miles out and then back on Welsh Ridge Trail, followed by 0.4 miles out and back on the High Rocks Trail, and then a 4 miles west on Cold Spring Gap Trail, where I went 1.8 miles northeast on Hazel Creek Trail to reach campsite 82, where I spent the first night. On day 2, I went 6.1 miles northeast on Hazel Creek Trail, followed by 2.6 miles out and then back on the Welsh Ridge Trail, then 4 miles southeast on Jonas Creek Trail to reach campsite 70, where I spent the second night. On day 3, I traveled 1.3 miles south on Forney Creek, 1.7 miles southeast on White Oak Branch Trail, and 1.9 miles east on Lakeshore Trail to reach my car, giving me a 45-ish mile hike with 10,600 plus feet of cumulative elevation gain. Not too bad for a tired old graybeard.
Welcome and thank you for joining me. This is Graybeard for the Sylvan Reflections channel. We are about to start another hike. This is going to be, as you just heard, a really long one. And I'm getting my typical late start at 8:30. But just means I'll do some night hiking, which is not unusual. And it's going to be, by the time it gets dark, I'll be in Hazel Creek area. So it's not going to be climbing uphill or something. Shouldn't be too bad. I just have to get a start and just not think about the 18 miles plus. So let's go ahead and get started on this beautiful July day in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Well, we just left the Lakeshore Trail, or the Road to Nowhere. After we passed through the tunnel, we're out the other side, and now we are headed on the actual trail proper. This is probably a good time for me to make my disclaimer. With so much mileage that I've got to do today, and the fact I got a late start, I doubt I'm going to average 1.5 miles per hour all day long from 9 to 9 to get my 18 miles, especially on the uphill portions. So I'll probably be doing some night hike, and because I've got, well, for me, 18 miles is quite a bit. Because of that, I'm probably not going to be as extensive on recording video. And I am also breaking one of my long-standing guidelines of not hiking below 5,000 feet in the summer, because I do not like the heat. But I've got to do the trails I haven't done yet to get my 900 miler. Worth noting, this is on my very last hike. This is where I came back out from the gold mine loop that terminates in the tunnel bypass and comes out here on Lakeshore Trail. No sooner did I turn off the camera than I come to the other entrance. And you can see this one takes you the entrance to the gold mine loop.
The naked flower tick trefoil is a new one for me. Its pale bluish-purple flower makes a nice contrast with the forest floor. The flowers of this lower elevation rhododendron species never fails to delight us with its iridescent speckles on a backdrop of dazzling white. This one looks like one of the white-capped Amanita species, possibly Amanita cochrae, based on its wart-encrusted cap.
We have reached our next landmark here. Okay, Lakeshore Trail going off to the left and off to the right. So this time, instead of taking it northeast to southwest, or excuse me, northwest to southeast, we'll be taking it southeast to northwest. That way I can say I've done it both ways.
Another new one for me. I like the lancelet white petals around a mauve center on this somewhat blurry, toothed, white-topped aster. The petals surrounding the disc of this greater tick-seed flower have such a creamy, rich yellow color. Although common, this flower is still beautiful. Love the beautifully brilliant orange color of this mushroom. Looks like some kind of chanterelle, possibly the cinnabar red. Another member of the Asteraceae family, with its darker colored discs surrounded by outer petals of rich yellow. They make a welcome splash of color against the more subdued color of the forest floor.
Well, that should look familiar from the last hike. Splitting off into the White Oak branch, heading toward the road to nowhere. This is the first creek crossing. But of course, that means that we have another branch coming up right here, which is the one we're looking for. This means that we have about 1.5 to go. Alrighty. Have a good day. Can't miss these beauties. Even a few ripe ones. Okay. They are beautiful little berries. Saw the blooms on the last hike. Now we got the berries, and there's even some ripe ones. Which, on the good side, it gives you something. I don't know if you can see that, but it's little berries, cute as can be, and not bad. Downside is us two-legged critters aren't the only ones who know that they're ripe, might come looking for them. And that's not bad news, really. Just have to be on your toes so that you can be aware. Let's look at what we have to enjoy. Boy, the creator is quite the artist. So much beauty. Okay, floor back that way. And since we have now reached the end of the Forney Creek Trail, so now we are on Bear Creek, and we have got a mere 6 miles to go before we get to the ridge. And a few miles beyond that. So, not too bad. Oh, just what a delightful I love that island with the two branches. It is on this Bear Creek trail. As we're coming up Bear Creek, we are going to be passing through some of the remnant.
Basically, I'm commenting that one of the things that contributes to the intrigue of the Smokies is its history before becoming a park. The Forney Creek drainage area was logged by the Norwood Lumber Company. This led to logging cabins and even a railroad bed that the trail follows today. This looks like another potential Amanita cokery with its wart-encrusted cap. As my ascent brings me slowly closer to the jump-up ridge, I'm describing my disappointment that, due to my late start, I'll not have time to go off-trail to the Bear Creek Falls.
Second motor bridge since the split from Forney Creek. I'm tempted to say famous in story and song, but that's just me and my backpacking videos. But it is a beautiful plant. Still warmer and more humid than is comfortable, but it's not too bad. Even better yet is the fact we have finally reached what I believe is campsite, I think it's 74.
Somehow that didn't seem right, so I rushed over to check the signpost.
It is 75. Yeah, not a bad one. Lots of areas for tents. I can see quite a few hammock spots, some nice shaded areas, which is where I'm headed. I think I'm going to take a break here for a little bit and hydrate a touch. Maybe even eat. All right, we are saying goodbye to campsites 75. This is where we start the more pronounced uphill. So it's going to be a little slow going. It's about 150 because I sat there and I took my time. I mean, I took at least half an hour there. One of the things I could have done that would have made it a shorter stop would have been to soak my filter. For the first time, and I don't know how many camp trips, I forgot to soak my filter the night before. So it was really slow to permeate through. That's all right. I got it filled up, and it gave me a little more time to rest, so it wasn't all bad. But it is now time to face the incline. Just look at that reddish clay-like soil, you can see that rich, organic, accumulated material is just not all that thick. It is very thin. It's also might make it easier to see why back in the 1800s, during the time this area was settled by people, why it was so easy for the land to play out. It didn't happen everywhere, but it was not unknown. Anytime you see a switchback like we have here, you know full well you've got some elevation gain coming hard, because they don't switch back for the fun of it. Oh well, we looked at the map, we knew it was coming. I'll just pretend it's a short 50-meter stretch and that's it. After all, that's true. It is only 50 meters at a time. Once again, the good old faithful wild hydrangea. Here we have some that are a little bit further in bloom. We have our favorite little blue-purple flower.
This is either the Virginia spiderwort or the zigzag spiderwort.
There are times when I just wish I could be done with that section and be to the next checkpoint. It is times like that when you're feeling low, feeling tired, you just want to turn around and see that, sure enough, we have reached that point. Okay, Welsh Ridge. Now we are going to continue on. Wow, that thing is, let me show you, that is overgrown. I'm going to be consulting my GPS regularly. Fortunately, I just treated my clothes with permethrin, so that should keep the ticks off. But I'll check carefully anyway. Now, okay, so we've come 5.8 since Forney Creek. This Welsh Ridge Trail has 4 miles up to Jonas.
So here's what I'm thinking. To make the mileage easier on day 2, I decided to change the way I split up the Jonas Creek to Bear Creek section of the Welsh Ridge Trail by doing the southern 2 miles on day 1 and the northern 2 miles on day 2.
Another beauty. Love the white in the center with the purple, outlining purple in the petals. Beautiful. You can see this Welsh Trail is somewhat overgrown. Guess it's not hiked terribly often. Would you look at that? Crimson bee balm. Wow, just look at the size of these ferns. These things are huge. I mean, if I get down really close, you can see. And these things are waist and almost about maybe 6 inches above the waist. They are everywhere up here. Awesome. Oh, that's a pretty flower. Beautiful 4 petals. Looks like we have another alternate leaf structure. That's beautiful. Man, we are hitting all kinds of cool flowers today. Asteraceae family. But must keep going. Must keep going.
Another big, bright, and beautiful cut-leaf coneflower.
You can see as we enter the dark tunnel, these rhododendrons make such cool, interesting rhododendron tunnels. Okay, it is 7:10, and I've gone as far as I can go because I've got to go that 1.9 miles back, and then I've got that 4 or 6 miles down Cold Spring Gap, and then a mile up Hazel Creek. So I don't want any more night hiking than I have to, but I did make it to Elbow Ridge. All I have to do is come to that tomorrow, and I'm good. So time for you to turn around and start heading back. That's better. Oh, that felt so good. And what a luxury up on the ridge. There's a big, busting through the brush that took place about 100 feet down the hill almost. And it just took off away from me. It was too big to be a wild boar and didn't have the saltatory or jumping type of movement that you would associate with deer. So I'd say we had a first black bear encounter. Pretty cool. As you can see, this trail is in much better shape than the Welch Ridge, possibly even a little worse. But time for me to stick these out in front like an icebreaker. In this case, a briar breaker. That is a beautiful crimson bee balm. Look at all those praying mantises facing in an outward circle. Looks like them, doesn't it? Okay, we are at the High Rock Trail, so we got to go do that. Isn't it unfortunate? The High Rock Trail would actually go up. There's Cap Lily. Man, this is actually right at my eye level. Well, we are here. I think I know how to put this chair to good use. Oh, just look at that view.
Such a gorgeous, sweeping view of the Tuckasegee River that flows into Fontana Lake. There was a fire tower from the 1930s, but it was removed in the 80s.
Well, from High Rocks, it's time to go. It's sundown. I could see down there to Fontana, but now we've got 4 miles down to Hazel Creek and about 1.2 up to the campground. So 5.2 miles in the dark. Take it slow and easy until we get there. All right. Back here, that's going to be in 0.5 miles that we get on the Cold Spring Gap. So, still in Welch Ridge for the next 0.5 miles. Well, look at this. Okay, they're saying that this is the start. .6 to go. Look at that, white bergamot. See them opening up here at the bottom. Well, it's about 2 a.m. I got that. Oh my, that Cold Springs Gap is just atrocious 4 miles. It has some nerve calling itself a trail. Anyway, at the very end here is a big creek that you have to cross, no bridge, and no way to rock hop. So finally, I had to break out the wading shoes. These rocks are slippery, so we can't put too much faith in them. Oh, that grips really well on it. Good, good, good. Okay. All right. I'm going to wait till I find a seat and switch over to my hiking shoes. Okay, there we are. Cold Spring Gap. We have finished that 4 miles. It says 3.6, but then it's 0.4 up to the Cold Rocks Trail. So we finished that. And now we are going to do Hazel Creek. I'm saying it's about a mile. So, almost 3 o'clock. Off we go. Yep. Yep. Fence, foundation, something from past days. Okay, it's 4 o'clock, and it looks like we are finally getting to camp. Now, I will probably have to not, if there's anybody here, I'll have to be very quiet. In the morning, I'll catch you up on all the Cold Spring Gap fun. Well, it looks like I'm the only one here. Wow, quite the campsite. We'll cover it in the morning. Alrighty, good night. Well, yesterday was interesting. Ended up being around 20 to 21 miles total. Wow, that Cold Spring Gap. It takes tremendous nerve to call that a trail. Man, that was just one boulder strewn gully for much of it. The top part was choked solid for long stretches. It's now about 8:25, so 3 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, about that. Anyway, not a lot. I think I'll go have breakfast, and it's 15 miles today, so it's not as much, but it's going to be about the same start time as yesterday. Meanwhile, just enjoy the surroundings.
I came across something interesting where Walker's Creek intersects Hazel Creek.
I think the Hazel Creek goes on to the right. Looks like some campsite. Although I don't see a marker for a campsite. Very interesting. Well, just finished water crossing, as you can see. If you pick your line carefully, a little higher than mid-shin, that means I had to put on my water shoes. So I was smart, or at least think I'm smart, keep my water shoes on for the next water crossing. Okay, safely across. Looks like this is one of the major sites for horse camps. That is quite the facility for being back here. Finally, a creek crossing the way I like to do it. Oh, look at that, striped wintergreen.
With the striking pattern and color of its leaves, this flower is one of my favorites. Although a common sight in the Smokies, the flower of the rhododendron is always a delight. Finally, the Hazel Creek Cascades. At least I think that's what it is. If I've misidentified it, please let me know in the comments.
That is very, very pretty.
The striped maple, with its unique, blunt, three-pointed leaves, is difficult to miss. Here, I was fortunate enough to find some leaves with a tree where you could actually see the stripes that give the tree its name.
Well, that's not bad. Maybe that's the Hazel Creek Cascade. Pretty.
I believe this is the golden trumpet, a beautiful little saprobe that helps break down the dead wood of falling conifers. This is the yellow jewelweed. I know I've seen the orange variety in previous hikes, but this is the first time I remember seeing the yellow one. Very nice.
This has been very, very long in coming. That's what I've been waiting for. We have reached the end of Hazel Creek Trail, and we are now on the Welch Ridge Trail. So we are going to head down the Welch Ridge to the point that I hiked it yesterday, turn around, go down Jonas Creek. So, on to it.
At this point, I'm passing the Jonas Creek Trail as I head down to finish the remaining northern portion of the Welch Ridge Trail.
Ah, there's a black bear that just tore up the hill. We're right next to Elbow Ridge here.
So, having reached the spot that I had hiked up to from the opposite direction the day before, I turned around and headed back north for the Jonas Creek Trail. Okay, you may have guessed that, having done 30 miles in about 36 hours, by this point I was just a wee bit exhausted. What I was saying here is that I now get to hike a leisurely 4.2 miles down the Jonas Creek Trail to spend the rest of the night at Campsite 70.
As you can see, it's a nice little campground here. The bees are everywhere. In fact, just got stung. Normally they're fine. Even if you bat them and hit them, what they don't like is if they get trapped in their clothing, they feel trapped, then they go nuts and they sting. So, not a bad one. It's just like a pinch. Anyway, that's pretty much over. Now I'm just gonna grab, there we go. A few moments of breakfast. I still have some stuff left in my food bag, so I'm just gonna have that, drink some water, enjoy a nice quiet morning, and hopefully take off by 10. So let me finish breakfast here, and then we're gonna start packing things up and get going. After a very leisurely morning, and about what I suspected, I'm taking off at 10 a.m. Nice late morning start, but only 6.2 miles to go. Shouldn't tax me that heavily. In fact, if I'm on track, I should be able to stop by that Nolan Creek Trail, the one that goes from the road down to the lake. I didn't catch that on my last one, so I can pick that up on the way home and take care of another little straggler trail. Meanwhile, streams coming on both sides of this. It's just beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, just what good fortune to be able to enjoy this. This particular bridge is not quite what we've become accustomed to. Missing a railing, but other than that, you know what? I can forgive that. I don't have to wade through it, and that's all I need to be grateful. All right. We just reached the end of the Jonas Creek Trail, coming down from Welch Ridge with that campsite, basically. And now we are on the Forney Creek Trail on our way back down. Let's get going.
One of the more shy residents of the Trailside Creek.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. In fact, you will also remember this one from my last hike, where I commented on the chimney here, the leftover remnants from that CCC camp in the, I think it was the 30s, that were working on trails in this area. Because I had, at that time, I had just come out from this trailhead, or not trailhead, from this trail right up here. I'm sure you'll remember that one. Yeah, Springhouse Branch, that's right. But I am taking the remainder of the Forney Creek back to my car. Some air conditioning, a cold glass of apple juice, lemonade, something like that. It'd be beautiful. Gives you something to look forward to.
With the bright yellow and contrasting dark blue, I just couldn't resist another butterfly slow-mo. Looks like the eastern tiger swallowtail for the yellow one and the pipevine swallowtail for the dark blue one. beautiful despite their dining selection. I believe this to be the American giant millipede, and it is indeed giant compared to the flatback millipede also found in the Smokies. This looks a lot like the chicken of the woods, which, according to many sources, is supposed to be a very tasty and very colorful edible mushroom.
I'm taking the split that I came in on, which is White Oak Branch. Another long overdue event. After almost 44 or so miles, I wish it had come sooner. But it has come, and that's sufficient for the moment. There's the white oak branching off of Lake Shore, and from Lake Shore to the trailhead, 2 miles. Just 2 more miles to go. The one we're facing now is the one going down Gold Mine Loop. Yeah, 0.7 to get back here, so we'll go on back to the car. This is the Tunnel Bypass Trail. 0.6 to go. Okay, the two most iconic landmarks as we close out the trail is when this trail turns to blacktop. Okay, and we are to our last major landmark before the car and air conditioning, and that is going to be the Tunnel to Nowhere. Well, we have made it to the end of a long and arduous yet beautiful trip to the Smokies. Bears, trees, lakes, everything you could want. This is Graybeard for the Sylvan Reflections channel. Thank you so much for having joined me for this hike. I'll see you on the next one.
If you like this video, please consider clicking the like, subscribe, and notification bell.